Innovation Forge.
As I planned the Forgeworks Grimoire, a narrative training series in Slate, I had to consult the great enrollment tapestry beyond the veil. 12 draws, 12 omens, each one whispered something essential about the work ahead. These aren't real tarot cards, of course, but the insights, those are forged from experience, shaped by patterns in the data, behaviors in the field, and that strange magic of enrollment work. Each reading now opens a chapter of the grimoire, setting the tone for what follows. I've recorded all 12 of these for those who are curious to peek before the hammer falls. I'm using the Smith spread to harness the structure of each episode. We have our space, our tool, our smith, and those who we serve. Today we are in the time of strategy, when tools are sharpened and vision takes form before that first spark of outreach. Next, we draw on the topic, today's artifact of attention. This episode focuses on the build. We shall use the Forge table to build our Persona Insights engine. Third, our practitioner. It reveals our guide. Today, we learn from the Mentallurgist, who forges clarity from the abstract. And finally, the one we serve. The student persona drawn from the deck today is Funnel Fiona, who appears everywhere, but converts unpredictably. For episode 2, we'll stay in strategy, but we draw the next topic. Today's artifact of attention. The episode focuses on understanding. We move to better understand our students through their data in Slate. And the third card, the practitioner, reveals our guide. Today, we learn from the Threadweaver, who uncovers the patterns between signals and silence. And finally, the one we serve. The student persona drawn from the deck today is Ghosted Greg, who once showed promise and then vanished without a word. We stay in our time of strategy for our third episode, one last time. But next we draw the topic, today's artifact. This episode focuses on planning. We harness the powers of Scout to better plan travel with Voyager. And the third card, our practitioner, reveals our guide. Today we learn from the Etherbound, who maps movement across both distance and behavior. And finally, the one we serve, the student persona drawn from the deck today, Out-of-State Oliver, whose geography and patterns shape your travel map. As we move from our season of strategy, we look at our new time in our topics. So we place recruitment. When the first flames are lit and our messages begin to dance through inboxes and calendars. And next we draw the topic, today's artifact of attention. This episode focuses on communications. We bind Slate's deliver to our purposes to drive the student journey. And the third card, the practitioner, reveals our guide. Today, we learn from the Calligraph, who scripts messages and that move and resonate. And finally, the one we serve. The student persona drawn from the deck is Clickbait Curtis, who opens every message but never takes the next step. We remain in our time of recruitment, but we uncover a new topic. This time, we look at events. We peer into the veil of events and visits to better channel our funnel. And the third card, our practitioner, the Gather Quill, who chronicles presence and uncovers engagement through attendance. And finally, the one we serve, the student persona drawn from the deck, Campus Cruiser Carla, who visits often, but whose intent is still unclear. And we remain one last time in recruitment, but we uncover a new topic. One more ethereal, I believe. So today's artifact of attention, this episode focuses on timing. We join the flow of time to better understand the nuanced tapestry of student engagement with our third card, the practitioner, who reveals our guide. Today, we learn from the chronologian, who binds behavior to the tick of the institutional time. And finally, the one we serve, the student persona drawn from the deck, is Procrastina Paige, who waits until the last possible moment to act. As we move from our age of recruitment, we take another time in the application and enrollment cycle. We look at the application itself. When heat gives way to pressure, when decisions and deadlines and stakes begin to harden. So when we draw our topic, today's artifact of intention is behaviors. It's within the rhythmic tapping of occurrence that we understand intention. And our practitioner is the datamancer, who reads engagement streaks like runes of intention. And finally, the one we serve, the student persona drawn from the deck today, Steady Eddie, whose consistent but quiet actions tell a longer story. As we stay in our application season, we move to our next topic, finances. As the unseen threads guide each of us in our journey, we look to better unlock and unblock the barriers to higher education. And our practitioner, the ledgerborn, who balances generosity and sustainability in aid logic. And finally, the one we serve, the student persona, aid anxious Anya, whose uncertainty about cost may outweigh her interest. And our last topic for this season of application, we look at decisions. Every thrum in the web of our lives leads us to different paths. In this delicate melody, we learn to help others find their way. And the third card, our practitioner, the slate wright, who forges clean logic paths from decision to deposit. And finally, the one that we serve, drawn from the personas, Deposit and Disappeared Devon, who said yes, but hasn't logged in since. As we shift our focus away from application, we look to our next season in the cycle, Yield. When fire becomes fragile, when we must protect, adapt, and guide the final steps towards commitment. So we draw our next topic, the artifact, the double yield card. In the time of the double yield concerns, we look to nurture the student journey. And we do that with our practitioner, the attrition anonymist, who studies fading signals and relights the flame. And finally, the student we will be serving in this episode, Summer Melt Mia, whose once bright engagement has begun to flicker. We stay in our season of yield, but we move to our next topic, that of empowerment. When we look to not only work with our students, but empower our counselors and our team to uplift our students. And our practitioner for today, the query smith, who conjures visibility from slate's deepest joins. And finally, the one we serve, the student persona, Yield Fence Yasmin, who teeters on the edge of yes and no. And for our final episode in the Forgeworks Grimoire, we look at our last topic, adaptive, where we not only tailor the student experience, but the very systems that we use to engage the students. And our practitioner for that day will be the Mentallurgist, who weaves patterns across cycles to build what comes next. And our final student persona, Historical Henry, whose past applications whisper what may come this year. I hope you join me on this journey of the Forgeworks Grimoire. You're a forge keeper who looks to build what adaptive enrollment management can look like. Thank you, and I look forward to this journey with you. Let's see how adaptive enrollment management can take shape today.